Hi everyone, Janie here. Welcome back to my garden. I have such a fun treat for you all today. It's a fun treat for me to see as well. So last year in my Show Me Your Garden series, I featured a whole bunch of gardeners in all zones. Well, some of them got together, became friends, and on Instagram actually formed a gardening group, a gardening club. And they are the sweetest women, and they all have YouTube channels, and they actually all have started doing collaboration videos together, which has been so much fun to watch. So they surprised me and sent me a video that is basically a then and now video. Then of what their gardens were like last year in my last Show Me Your Gardens, and then what their gardens are like now. So it is such a fun video. I had to share it with all of you. We're gonna start off with Betty from Simple Southern Garden. I think she's kind of the ringleader, the one that put it all together. So let's head over to Betty and we'll take a look at her garden.
Hey y'all, and good morning. My name is Betty and welcome to my garden. I live and garden in coastal North Carolina, Zone 8. And I was in Janie's video last year for her zone video, and I had such a wonderful time. Through that experience, I have met so many wonderful friends. So after the zone video came out, I decided to start a flower friends group over on Instagram. So I matched everybody who had been on her videos and sent them a little message and said, "Hey, would you like to be a flower friend?" And through those messages, we have a beautiful group of friends that we have a message board over on Instagram, and we share beautiful pictures of our garden and what's growing beautiful this time of year. And then we've also been able to do some collaborations. So I have a couple of friends that we've been doing collaborations with. Our first one was called The Art of Gardening, and then we've been doing a series called Dream Garden, or Our Garden Dream. So these are my friends that I've met through Janie's Zone videos. So the friends that I've met through Janie's Zone video that we've done collaborations with are Kim with Backyard Blooms by Kim, Deborah with Inspiring Garden Corner, Lynn with Lynn Purse, Julia with Julia Venestra Art, and Emily with The Scent of a Garden. So these are all my wonderful friends. Thank you, Janie, so much for doing the Zone videos so we can have all of these wonderful friendships. All right, so I had to run and go and get one of Janie's famous hats because the sun is getting really bright and pretty intense out here. So my friends and I are so excited to share with you guys today our gardens now. They look so much different than they did last year. It's just amazing what a couple of months can do in a garden. So with these collaborations that we've done, it's given me such a mindful approach to gardening, talking about the art of gardening and our garden dreams, and it has made such a difference in the way that I've gardened here on my property. So we can't wait to share with you our gardens now. Hey y'all, and good morning. Welcome to my garden. My name is Betty, and I live and garden in coastal North Carolina. I was in Janie's video last year for Zone 8, and this year I asked her if we could do a video on how our garden has changed. Because last year I had only been gardening for a year and I really didn't have much to show. But now we have some big, beautiful blooms, and I can't wait to show them to you. All right, guys, so let's go and take a look at the beautiful garden. Okay, so this is the Shay Garden behind my house, and I have in here planted just a mixture of hostas and heucheras, some lungwort, impatiens. Then we have this rogue squash that came from I don't know where, but it is growing in the middle of this beautiful shade garden. And then as we go down, you can see more of the repeat of the impatiens and the hostas and the heuchera. It is just a beautiful little spot. It does get a touch of sun in the morning and a little touch of sun in the evening. One of the biggest transformations that we had this year is the cottage garden. So on my garden dream video, this is what I dreamed of, was a beautiful cottage garden with lots of pinks, purples, and whites, little splashes of color here and there with the yellow and the red and the orange, but just a beautiful place to garden. So let's go take a little walk through the cottage garden. This here is a Senorita Rosalita, and it is a Cleome. It is an improved version from Proven Winners, so it is thornless and it is sterile. And as you can see, the bees absolutely love it. And going through here, we have some beautiful Incrediballs, and as you can see, we have those all through the line repeating. And in back of that, we have these tall guy arborvitaes. And the tall guys are just a beautiful backdrop to these Incrediballs. And then as you walk through the cottage garden, you will notice that I've tried to add a lot of ground cover. We have some beautiful autumn joy sedum that's just starting to put on some beautiful rosy color. We have our phlox that have about bloomed out, but then beside that, we have our beautiful little lime punch that is just starting to get a little rosy color on the tips. Along the front here, we have some beautiful lavender. Some was grown from seeds, some from cuttings. And then we just have a repeat of the autumn joy sedum and a little trio of the lamb's ear. You can see the Walker's Low catmint. It's doing very beautiful. The pollinators love it. And then we had this little pop of orange with this vermillionaire, and this is supposed to attract hummingbirds. I have another trio of David Austin roses here. We have the Lady of Shalott, which is a beautiful apricot color rose, has a lovely fragrance. We have a climbing rose called the Claire Austin, and it will have white blossoms. And then our last one here is the Alnwick rose, which is loaded down full of buds, and it has big, beautiful pink blossoms that also smell really good. All right, so on our cottage garden, we are still adding on to it with the cardboard method and topsoil. But then as you can come through here, you can see the sun is starting to peek through the trees, and it's shining right on this apricot drift rose, which is absolutely gorgeous. And the fragrance on it is so wonderful. It has been such a wonderful performer in our garden this year. Again, with another little pop of orange, some ornamental oregano as a beautiful ground cover, and then we end it with the lamb's ear and a beautiful catmint. So this is what this garden looked like in the beginning, just at the beginning of the year, and this is what it looks like now. Can you believe the transformation just in a couple of months? Absolutely gorgeous. This skinny flower bed beside our house is one of our oldest flower beds, so this is almost going on 2 years old, but we've added a couple of elements to it since we've been going along. We added this little quick fire hydrangea when we had one of the other hydrangeas to die, and then we added the Walker's Low catmint, and then we added some little amazing daisies kind of interspersed in between. But we already had the pink muhly grass, so as you can see, it's growing really, really well. The autumn joy sedum, and then we had the little lime punches up and down the walkway here. So we still have so much area to develop on our property. We have 1.2 acres, and there is so much room to grow and to plant, so much scope for the imagination on this property. This area of our home has also had a big transformation because when we first moved in, the flower beds around the house were just grass. So we removed all of the sod, put in lots and lots of topsoil and compost, and then we started all of our planting. We have our little bird bath here surrounded by these lavender miniature roses, and then backed up by our baby blue spruce and our boxwoods here in the back. Then along the front, we have our Supertunia Vista bubblegums and our Supertunia Vista snowdrifts. I love how the Supertunia Vista snowdrifts kind of have a mounding habit, where the Supertunia Vista bubblegums, they spread really, really far. And then they're backed here by our Blushing Bride hydrangeas. So they are growing in really good after we put up our deer fence to keep the deer from eating them. Then over on the left side, we have more of the blushing bright hydrangeas that have this beautiful rosy pink color, just like a bride on her wedding day. So pretty. And in front of them, we have more of the Supertinia Vista snowdrifts. The star of the show, definitely here in this flower bed, is the limelight hydrangeas. The blossoms on this plant are absolutely beautiful and huge. In front of them, we have the Cat's Pajamas Nepeta that we've already sheared back, so hopefully we'll get a second flush of blooms. And then we have our row of Supertunia Vista bubblegums that are just starting to fill out. And the second star of the show are these Starry Night hibiscus. So this was a problem area because it stayed super wet, but we solved the problem with a beautiful solution. And these hibiscus are thriving in this wet soil here. They're absolutely beautiful. Thank you guys so much for joining me here today, and I hope you enjoyed this little then and now of our beautiful garden here in coastal North Carolina. And thank you, Janey, so much for letting us share these videos with you. Thank you so much for the time and effort and care that you put into new gardeners and for new content creators. We do appreciate you so much. So I hope you have a chance to get in your gardens today. Bye, friends.
Hi Janie, hi garden friends. Kim here with Backyard Blooms. The last time you visited my garden here in Charlotte, North Carolina, Zone 8, my very front yard caught your attention. And last year I had lots of the pink gomphrena, the persimmon, and the yellow supertunias. And this year I know you're gonna love my front garden as well because I have the new pink cashmere superbena and the mini Vista white supertunias. So I'm going to turn the camera around and show you my lovely gardens. I absolutely love how this front garden has filled in with these annuals. The Superbena Cashmere is just a great workhorse along with the mini Vista White. And then I accented all my containers with some more color. And then I have the newly Noir Coleus, which does good in sun or shade. And then I absolutely love this new Vivid Orchid Supertunia. I just think it's beautiful along with the jazzberry and the angel face pink. Oh my goodness, I love that plant as well. And I have to share with you my 3-tiered container. These are filled with Sun Patience Purple and the Lilac Crush. Just love this little garden right here as well. And you can't deny that this summerific hardy hibiscus is just loving life right here. Just recently on my video, Janie, I had a vote and most people said that they liked this West Side Garden the most. They liked all the gardens, but they really liked this West Side Garden. This West Side Garden right here was developed to prevent erosion on my hill. It's only just 1 year old, can you believe it? This Limelight Standard tree here was before that, and it's looking gorgeous. I have a drift of the mini Vista White Supertunias, and then the Cashmere Pink looks really pretty with the cone flowers. And my tips and tricks here in Charlotte, North Carolina, I do attribute this to my power planter because it gets all the soil really fine. It's easy to plant. It makes the plants easy to grow the roots. My biotone, which I plant in every single hole. I'll also throw a couple of handfuls of compost, so I think that makes my garden look better as well. As you can see, I don't have a problem growing anything in the hard clay. And everything is also on drip. So just like your area, we are really hot here. Actually, it's going to reach 100 today. So these flowers right here are getting consistent water morning and night, and it makes them super happy. And don't you just think that this garden looks super happy? Also, while planting, I make sure that I have to raise my plants up 1 inch to 1.5 inches above the soil level. That creates more drainage for my flowers because, however, our clay soil does want to hold on to a lot of moisture, which is good and bad, but it's bad whenever your roots die and they don't have a good start. So plant your plants up 1 inch to 1.5 inches above the soil level and make sure you keep at least 80% of your original soil. I have the Scentlanta, playing the blue salvia. The bees love that. I had some daylilies right here that were called Primal Scream. They were gorgeous. They look really pretty against the blue buddleia. And then I have some lilac hardy hibiscus there. This one in the melon coneflower is gorgeous. More jazzberry. I have some snapdragons in here. Look at this, you guys. Isn't that adorable? I can grow hydrangeas. I just have to put them in the shade. My limelight hydrangeas do the best in the sun with drip. In addition, Janie, this is my skinny side garden, and I have nothing but cut flowers right here, and these are grown from all my little baby seeds. Now we're entering into the backyard, and I think my limelight hydrangea garden caught your attention last year, and they're just starting to bud up and look beautiful. There's Miss Gray. She says hello. I also have a formal rose garden with lots of Sprunter boxwoods and lots of David Austin roses. My boscabelle right here are the most attractive currently. And Janie, I have a cottage garden right here. So I just feel like I have a whole backyard oasis that gives me lots of privacy. So Janie, I hope this was helpful for all the Zone 8 gardening friends, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye, friends.
Good evening, Janie and garden friends. I am so excited to share with you the changes in my garden since your last Show Me Your Garden. We went from Zone 7 to Zone 8 here in Georgia, and it has allowed me to be more creative in my plant choices. So come along with me and let me show you what some of those changes consist of. In last year's video, you had complimented my crepe myrtle and mentioned the enjoyment my grandchildren would get out of playing there. With some serious negotiations with a 3 and 5-year-old, I was able to transform the jungle gym area into this quaint country vegetable garden. Now, what I ended up doing was accenting it with my double knockout roses, my echinaceas, the lirapi, and the sunshine ligustrum. One of the things that I wanted to accomplish in the garden was to have the wisteria climbing up the garden enclosure and encompassing it. And it's doing a pretty good job. And I pretty much mimicked it on the same side. Now, in negotiating with our grandchildren to gain this space, we had to commit to doing fruits and vegetables that they liked. And we are growing watermelon here and the cantaloupe, which is doing very well using the vertical technique. So this has been an exciting transformation, which has allowed us to take a jungle gym area and create this beautiful, sustainable garden. Now, to coincide with the rest of the garden, we made some changes to my garden shed. My Luna Rose, I'm so thankful that it has bloomed for me. And back in the corner is a rose that I had propagated called the White Lie. But I also built the shed shutters and also the window boxes that have the Proven Winners Plum Daddy in it and also the Silver Falls. And then I placed just some annuals in containers to accent it. And then along the side, of the garden shed is my broomstruck hydrangeas that have done their first flush and getting prepared for their second one. And I also have my iceberg climbing rose that is doing beautiful to go up my trellis. Well, Janey, while I ended up focusing on the new things that we had done in our garden, it is still vibrant and full of life as my hydrangeas, my roses, and my new garden bed is coming to life. And that's the beauty of gardening, is being able to enjoy the things that end up making you smile. Thanks again.
Hi everyone, I'm Lynn and I garden with my poodle Pixie in southwest Pennsylvania on a wooded acre. My garden dream is to create a beautiful habitat that nurtures plants, people, and wildlife. It has been a joy to collaborate with my garden friends, and it has pushed me to do things I might not have attempted otherwise, like creating this woodland garden. While I was digging my first garden bed here 23 years ago, there were no flowers anywhere. A butterfly landed on my flowered shirt over my heart, looking for food. I made a solemn promise that I would create a garden for it, and I did. Not only create a garden, but a habitat that would look beautiful and support creatures throughout their life cycle. This native mulberry is not only a focal point in my garden, but provides a feast for the birds and other creatures in summer with berries in the tree and on the ground. One of the things that I've learned in building a garden habitat is the importance of host plants for insects, and how these plants can also feed different creatures throughout the season. The wild violets in my garden beds host the fritillary butterfly, and they can tolerate some foot traffic too. If you have a strong structure, you can plant anything. I'm replacing many non-native plants with natives without sacrificing beauty. In fact, they attract beautiful creatures too. Pixie arrived 2 years ago, and she created a woodland path on our morning walks. Last fall, that path became the woodland walk for a new garden. This spring, a simple tree pruning revealed a dying tree over the house that had to come down. It was completely hollow. The arborist leveled the stump so that I could use it as a planter. They dropped the tree along the edge of the path and chipped the smaller branches to line it. Instant structure. By May, the garden beds began to fill out. Gifts of white violet and giant Solomon seal from a friend were the first to bloom. Several service berries were already growing near the path. I underplanted them with bloodroot and tiarella. Wild violets transplanted in the fall blossomed profusely along with the woodland phlox. I pruned the black cherry trees last fall and was rewarded with beautiful blooms. What to do with the remaining logs from the tree? I was inspired to build a small English stumpery filled with ferns and wildflowers. Pixie was certainly intrigued. I dug native ostrich ferns that were encroaching on the lawn and carted them to the stumpery for planting. A few Christmas and sensitive ferns from other places in the garden were added for variety. Removing invasive plants revealed several pagoda dogwoods. Their spring flowers feed the pollinators, and their berries feed the birds in the fall. I continued to shop for native plants from my garden, moving them into the new beds. Some bloomed in the spring, and some will bloom this fall. Some decor items bring a little color into the quiet green of summer as the garden grows and matures. decided that the log could use a few more ferns, so once again I gathered more ostrich ferns, which are very easy to move. Pixie loves to view the woods from here. In early June, days of heavy rain created a misty, foggy morning. Everything became lush and green, so beautifully mysterious. Last evening, I came out of the side door a few steps from the woodland walk and saw that firefly season had begun in earnest. Pixie and I stood in the growing dark as the fireflies rose up from the woodland floor and created magic in the dark. This is what garden dreams are made of. Thank you for watching.
Welcome to my garden in Hamilton, Ontario, and I'm giving you an evening garden tour because we're having the most beautiful sunset. I live on the lake by Lake Ontario. You'll see it right out there, and this is my garden in Zone 6. My incredible hydrangeas are doing incredibly well. I have to cut down my columbine, but I just love how it looks. My allium are almost done. Look at the size of that Empress Wu hosta. My lavender and pots are doing well. My miscanthus grass, I moved the one in the front, so it's just taking its time to catch up. My studio, that's where I paint, and the smoke bush and the gardens that I look out my window at. I'll take you through the gate and we'll check out the garden outside the fence. I love that the incredibles spill through the fence. The grasses back here do wonderfully. Another Empress Wu. And my beach grasses. I think I could expand this garden 10 feet and just fill it with beach grasses and it'd be incredible. And there's my house and that incredible sunset. Incredible might be the theme word for the evening. Let me take you to the secret garden. And this is a secret little courtyard that I have. As you follow the path that you see in the distance, that goes to my driveway. But this is my secret area. It's lovely. More hydrangeas, iris. My coneflowers are starting to come, the daisies, the evening primrose here, the Japanese grasses, and the uplit trees. If you could be here right now and feel this cool summer evening, you would be in love with it as much as I am. I love to thrift things and put them in the garden. The big leaves that you see all through the garden are thrifted. I limbed up these trees, and that just afforded so much more opportunity underneath. I love the opportunity to light up trees. The Brennera, the grasses, I gotta do a little division in there. And my Japanese grass loves its life. The next door neighbor's dog doesn't quite know what to do with me out here. And there's the honeysuckle and the blue hostas. So there you go. An evening tour on a summer night of my secret art studio garden. I've got some things growing for fall, and I always love to see what is in bloom. I just got back from a little holiday visiting grandchildren, so visiting the garden tonight was the perfect thing to do.
Hi Janie, Emily here, coming to you from my YouTube channel, The Scent of a Garden, representing Zone 10B. So thank you for bringing us together. A shout out to Betty for keeping us together. So I garden in Southern California, Zone 10B, Sunset Zone 22, where the winters are mild and the summers are warm and the fall is hot. The big features of my garden are flowers, foliage, and fragrance. Today, we are at the entrance of my home and we will look at the casual courtyard and the shady front porch. So I was motivated to refresh my shady front porch and courtyard after watching the video of you and Kate refresh your front entrance. I love the analogy Kate uses to nudge our thinking about designing a space, how we would design a fun dinner party, pairing plants to have a conversation, just like we would pair people to have a lively and engaging conversation. So let me turn the camera around and welcome you to my courtyard and front porch plant dinner party.
So when you walk into the courtyard, you're immediately greeted by 3 big pots. 2 are filled with floret zinnias and another is filled with award-winning roses. You're also greeted by a lounging palm. Next, you will meet agapanthus and a vining red passion vine, non-fruit bearing, but gorgeous and rare. Now let's have a candid conversation about the floret zinnias. They're going to be late to the party because they're still picking out their outfit. They suffered from a bad case of powdery mildew, but they're going to pull through. Now we have a lovely hydrangea. And in this next garden bed, this is my favorite because it's filled with nostalgia. This garden bed is filled with a cast iron plant that does very well in the shade, underplanted with strappy grasses. There are lilies, dichondra falls, and impatiens. And Janie, I agree with you, impatiens need a comeback. They are a reliable shade plant. There's heliotrope for scent and also a flowering maple that is beautiful, underplanted with lantana, and because of its center, and then the majestic angel wing. But the star of this bed is my wagon. And the wagon is from my childhood, yes. Back when, in the early 70s, when a red wagon was a hot toy. And you see here, my dad painted my name on it. Next, we have a little more traditional with the lemon mire tree, the sweet pea shrub, no relation to the sweet pea vine or the vegetable, echeveria, English lavender, which I love because of its deep color. There's also French lavender and a princess flower that I propagated from a cutting. But mighty peppermint is so refreshing. Next, we have a handsome Boston fern to complement the cyclamen and the formally dressed fuchsia. The euphorbia always brings the cheer, and this arrangement was gifted to me by a neighbor after giving her a paper white for Christmas. And Janie, I know you know what I mean. In the fallen hanging basket are geraniums I started from seed, and an angel trumpet that I propagated, and Arabian jasmine underplanted kind of wonkily with lamb's ear.
And after watching a garden design webinar featuring Dan Benarek, horticulturalist at Chanticleer, I started this practice at my front door. Very simple, pretty greeting. So with that, thanks for watching, and let's stay in touch. You can visit me at my channel, The Scent of a Garden, and Instagram at I am Emily Williams. I hope you get a chance to enjoy your flowers and the fragrance in the air. Bye, Janey.
So just a huge thank you to Betty, to Kim, to Deborah, to Lynn, to Julia, and to Emily. I hope I got you all. So huge thank you to all of you. It's so much fun to see your gardens. I will link their YouTube channels in the description down below, as well as last year's videos, Show Me Your Garden videos that they were all featured in. So just as a reminder, the Show Me Your Gardens 2.0 starts July 15th. So everybody stay tuned for that. I hope you all enjoyed this, and I hope you all have a chance to get in your garden today.